Over the course of the past several weeks, we have delved into the story of Blackbeard in various manners. Our exploration commenced by analyzing the fateful encounter he had with Luffy, taking a comprehensive examination of their face-to-face interaction. We delved into his connection with destiny and fortune, and how these concepts intricately intertwine throughout his entire narrative. Finally, we meticulously examined, in chronological order, his complete history, striving to uncover hints about the elaborate plan he has been crafting over a significant period of time. Today I would like to give credence to those words lightly spoken by yours truly a few weeks ago, when I asserted that Teach may be a direct blood descendant of the late Joyboy of 800 years ago. Said in this way may sound like nonsense. Although it may appear fanciful, it could be more genuine than initially perceived. Undoubtedly, the simple solution is to connect it with Zebek and be content. Nevertheless, I am keen on attempting to grasp the intricate concept, which could potentially not exclude this initial assumption entirely. Let us assume that Marshall D. Teach, as the author himself suggests on several occasions, is passionate about historical research, so much so that if he were a real-world person, he would be an archaeologist. This suggests that the character is, seemingly at least, a person with a wide-ranging curiosity for the truth and the desire to expose the hidden aspects of the world. That being said, we can be certain of his extraordinary lineage. From a storytelling perspective, Oda made it evident that he is linked to Katarina Devon's statement about Teach being a unique individual in response to Saturn's inquiry. This connection is a direct result of the events and dialogue crafted by Oda. Why do you follow that man? Whereas from the internal point of view of the story, so where the author does not exist, it is precisely after hearing from Katarina that Teach is special that Saturn states that the man is descended from someone in particular, which adds to what makes him special. I am not playing with words. It makes sense what I am saying. So, the first point to note is that Blackbeard is actually descended from someone who was important enough to leave a mark on the memory of one of the world's leaders. This key piece of information is what sets the foundation for all subsequent discussions. Now, let's delve into Teach's career as a pirate, starting with his decision to join forces with Whitebeard when he was just 11 years old. Whitebeard, who commanded a powerful fleet of pirates, was one of the most renowned figures in the pirate world 3 decades ago, alongside Roger, Shiki, Big Mom, and Kaido. It's unclear whether Blackbeard had already chosen to pursue Newgate due to his desire for the Gura Gura fruit, or if it was simply a stroke of luck that he ended up on the Moby Dick. Destiny, right? The fate that picks up young Marshall D. Teach and brings him to Whitebeard's ship. But in any case, that is our 0 point at the time. Teach has both developed as an individual and evolved as a pirate while maintaining a constant presence in the background. He managed to elude detection and classification as a threat to world security by the world government throughout his 30 years at sea. Reflecting on the occasion in Mary Jewas where a replacement for Crocodile was being sought, it is worth noting that Marshall D. Teach's true identity remained a mystery. Hence, the initial question arises, who is this man? How does Saturn have knowledge of Teach's lineage if no one, just 2 years prior, was aware of Teach's identity? It is worth noting that Sengoku was present in that room, and he himself was not even aware of who Lafitte was. However, Tsuru did happen to know Lafitte's identity, but remained unaware of Teach's lineage, despite Teach having been a member of Whitebeard's crew for over 20 years. I came to the conclusion that this information is highly classified, known only to a select few individuals, much like the fact that Shanks is the son of Figalan Garling. The main question here is whether the surname Marshall D posed a threat to the world government. From the very beginning, they would have disposed of him. However, it is evident that the possession of a family name is not an issue, considering that the Navy has had individuals with the surnames Monkey D and Jaguar D in its ranks before. Furthermore, the letter D itself does not pose a problem as long as its true significance remains undisclosed. It is merely a letter, lacking in any real importance. So what is the root of the issue then? Why does Teach's lineage appear to be so extraordinary that even Saturn acknowledges his exceptional nature? Could it be that 800 years ago, Joy Boy may have belonged to the Marshall D family, but this crucial detail got overshadowed along with other historical occurrences during that clandestine century? The only ones capable of possessing this knowledge would be Joy Boy's direct descendants and his sworn enemies, such as Imusama. If indeed Imusama is the same Nerona Imu who established the world government 8 centuries ago, at the conclusion of the Void Century, as subtly suggested in the manga, then he surely knows the true identity of his most formidable adversary. However, there is a pivotal plot aspect that could potentially unravel this enigma, but I will address this further at a later point. Going back to Blackbeard's plan, Teach's initial step, aside from maintaining his secrecy, was to acquire the fruit Dark, also referred to as Yami, Buyo in Italian, or whatever one might call it. Without obtaining it, none of this would have transpired, and we are all well aware of the subsequent events and the repercussions they entailed, so I shall refrain from delving into those aspects. Instead, I would like to address a crucial uncertainty. Joy Boy is known by that name because his age-old companion Zunesha explicitly tells us that it is the resonating beats of liberation emanating from the heightened post-awakening heartbeat of the Gom fruit, which we now know to be the mythological fruit of the god Nika, that lead to recognition of an individual as Joy Boy. Simply put, without the fruit whose awakening brings the spirit of the god Nika back to life, Joy Boy does not exist. There is no doubt that Joy Boy is currently Luffy, which poses the question, why did Teach prioritize the darkness over the fruit of the sun god? Instead, why not focus on obtaining the Nika's fruit? This raises curiosity about his motivations and actions. Here one can only speculate for the time being. The easiest choice might be out of ignorance. It seems that it is only by coming to Laugh Tale that one can find out about the importance of the fruit, so much so that later it is Shanks himself who goes to retrieve it. It is evident that Roger told him about this specific detail, and so Teach, in ignorance, memorizing the fruits on the encyclopedia, went to fish out the most diabolical one of all, capable of taking away the powers of others with abilities. The decision that is even more challenging, in contrast, pertains to whether he consciously perpetrated it. In the event that, for some obscure rationale, Teach was aware that his ancient predecessor failed precisely 800 years ago on account of that exceptionally unique power, why not consider an alternate path? Yes, we are currently soaring over remarkably lofty peaks here, but upon contemplation, this specific fruit, until proven otherwise, lacks vulnerabilities against other devil fruits. Though it does amass suffering, beyond that, it possesses positive attributes. Should it be possible that Joy Boy indeed met his downfall due to Nika's fruit as well? From this juncture, the subsequent step involved acquiring the esteemed status of a warlord, thereby gaining the privileges bestowed by the world government upon these pirates. Take heed of the incredible turn of fate that presented itself. If Luffy had not emerged triumphant over Crocodile, there would have been no candidate to fill the vacancy among the warlords of the sea. In such a scenario, what course of action would Teach have pursued? Would he have bided his time for one of them to collapse? A perplexing situation, to be sure. Would he have personally enacted an assault against the unusually mighty Hancock, whom he ultimately faced 2 years later to pilfer her devil fruit's powers? Having removed Hancock from the equation, the government would have extended the coveted title to Teach, just as they did with Ace, after he vanquished the former warlord, who was later supplanted by Kuma 4 years prior to the present. However, fate dictated that not only did Crocodile's position remain unoccupied, but Ace, the highly sought-after son of Roger and under the protection of Whitebeard, fell into Teach's clutches, bestowing the pirate with his golden opportunity, and with this, the third element of the plan is set into motion, reinforcing the ranks. Again, luck and destiny are at play as Teach ventures to impel down at the precise time of Luffy and Buggy's grand jailbreak, during which he not only prospered amid his rival's bedlam, but also formed an opportune alliance with Shiryu, the former chief jailer of the penal facility. Furthermore, behold fate's interventions yet again. If Teach had surrendered Luffy to the government in order to join the warlords, the Marineford War would never have ensued. The massive breakout at Impel Down would likely have been averted as well. Instead, everything fell into place, with Newgate delivered to Teach on a silver platter. How would it have gone if Teach had delivered Luffy? Because Luffy was not in his plans either. They had crossed paths by chance in Jaya. They were only looking for a pirate above 100 million to make themselves look good in the eyes of the government. With Luffy sentenced to death, or perhaps thrown in jail until death separated him from this world, nothing would have happened, no? But Teach wanted the Gura Gura. That was the fourth phase of the plan. So what was he going to do? He would hunt for Newgate in the New World with his new crew. That is, if he had gone out from Impel Down alive. I don't know how it would have gone. Even with all those big shots, I question whether Teach could have beaten the entire group of Whitebeard's pirates, who were as hard and fresh as rocks. Nevertheless, the important observation here is another. Teach was already aware that he possessed the ability to store two fruits within himself, and once his comrades, both new and old, arrived at Marineford, they were already aware of it. Some, like Shiryu, remain skeptical, those who are curious and excited, such as Devon. So it is noteworthy that Teach is always extremely clear with his associates. Devon, in the final chapters of the Egghead Saga, even lets us know that he knows about this lineage from which his captain originates. So, again, Teach is very honest and open with his pirates. They know who he is, what he can do, what he wants to do, and they follow him because they share with him goals and methods. However, there is another crucial point we must consider before he obtained the Gura Gura ability. Just before his death, Newgate directly tells Teach, "You, at the very least, are not the man that Roger is waiting for." When looking at it directly, it is certainly an offense, completely concluded. However, there is another reason to express these thoughts towards Teach. Why choose to perform this act right before the speech, in which Edward Newgate, alias Whitebeard, reveals his knowledge about two of the world's biggest mysteries, the meaning behind the letter D and the existence of JOYBOY? In fact, he will talk about this very person who will bear the brunt of the whole story. I repeat, at the very least, you are not the man Roger is waiting for, Teach. If we look instead at the scene in its entirety, Teach has not seen Newgate for about a year. Their falling out occurred when Teach killed Satch and left without any further ties. Teach's lack of fame was evident, as neither the newspapers nor ordinary people cared to mention him. His notoriety remained at an absolute zero. Surprisingly, Ace put an enormous effort into locating him. It was clear that Teach did not pose a threat to the world government. So why did Newgate inform Teach that he wasn't the man Roger had been waiting for? Could it be possible that Blackbeard had confessed his desire to become the next pirate king to Newgate while intoxicated? That theory just doesn't hold up logically. Did Edward Newgate perhaps imagine that Marshal D. Teach wanted to emulate Roger and become the pirate king by finding the One Piece? It's quite possible, as this is the goal of the vast majority of pirates in the world. If that were the case, it would simply be a minor detail for its own sake. The true plot would be, as we come back to our theory, if Teach, just like he had informed his former crewmates about his unique physical attribute, which Marco remembers perfectly, and his inability to sleep, also shared with Newgate the truth about his parentage. Teach may have revealed his true lineage to Newgate in the same quiet manner as he did with his comrades. Newgate might have been aware of Teach's ancestry, and if it was revealed to be Rox, Newgate's former captain, then I would have had several doubts if I were in Whitebeard's shoes. However, when Ace reveals himself to be Roger's son, Newgate claims he doesn't care because ultimately we are all children of the sea. Nonetheless, in the case of Teach being the offspring of Rox, it's clear that he would not have been the person Roger had anticipated. In my opinion, this detail is so significant that it doesn't even need specification. Unless JOYBOY's last name had been Rox, and Teach is related to the former pirate, perhaps through blood of his mother, who was a marshal. However, this stuff has already been done with Ace, so no, not again, Oda, please. Instead, in the event that Teach is descended from the Joy Boy of 800 years ago, and therefore believe that the One Piece is rightfully his as a relative of that man, or even not knowing that the One Piece was Joy Boy's, and feeling within himself the will to accomplish what the person of 800 years ago had failed to accomplish by tracing lineage, hearing internal family stories, Newgate's sentence gains a newfound significance. It goes beyond just the bloodline, conveying the message, you are not the person Roger is waiting for. What truly matters is upholding his will. Indeed, Nika has chosen Luffy, not Teach. This is knowledge that Newgate possesses, for Teach may be a direct descendant of the man Roger is waiting for, but he does not embody his values. Unfortunately, Teach fails to comprehend the true meaning behind Newgate's words. His D is an empty vessel, devoid of substance. Instead, upon learning of the existence of the One Piece, Teach becomes fixated solely on that idea. He believes that as a descendant of Joy Boy, he is entitled to it. This sets off a chain of events. Following Newgate's death, Teach acquires the Devil Fruit and wreaks havoc at Marineford, boldly proclaiming it to be his era and asserting his right to claim everything. He envisions a world where everything conforms to his desires. Eventually, he departs Marineford, prompted by Red Hair's request, with a thinly veiled threat of retaliation. For now, you may leave, but your time will come. It is worth noting that Shanks' preoccupation with Teach may hold even greater significance. Based on deductions made in the video Shanks' story, it can be estimated that Red Hair received his prominent scars between 13 and 18 years prior to the present timeline. So, several years after Roger's death. Why did Shanks go to Blackbeard? Was it to discover his identity? Was it to confirm if he was the man Roger had anticipated? In fact, Teach carries the D. However, the moment Shanks witnessed Teach being struck and scarred, he realized that Teach may not possess the same will as the Joy Boy from 8 centuries past. Speculation is all we can entertain. We are still uncertain of the truth. Nonetheless, recently Shanks has approached Blackbeard from the very instant when he began to gain recognition beyond Newgate's crew. As soon as he hears that Ace is after him, he goes to Whitebeard and tells him to stop the boy because Teach is too dangerous. Then he goes to Marineford for the purpose and actually kicks him out. As soon as Luffy wakes up and Nika comes back to this world, so there is a possibility that Wano will be opened, Shanks goes to Wano to intercept Blackbeard, who instead goes elsewhere screwing him over. Most importantly, Shanks visits Mary Joyce and going to the 5 elders to inform them about a certain pirate. This specific piece of information, which I mentioned earlier, is crucial as it explains how Imu and the 5 elders are aware of the connection between Teach and Joy Boy. This can be inferred from the fact that Saturn, in the Egghead saga, exclaims without tell it, I know, indicating that he may have been informed by Red Hair. It is likely that Red Hair, when the Pirate King come back from Laughdale, memorized everything Roger told to his pirates. This would explain Saturn's extensive knowledge, including details about Nika, the fruit, and other things known by Shanks. Although we cannot gauge the extent of Saturn's knowledge, it seems plausible that he possesses a wealth of information. Furthermore, his awareness of Teach suggests a possible familial connection to this lineage. Joy Boy was a Marshall D, trivially. However, let's return to our uncouth pirate who, after leaving Marineford, embarks on his remontada, conquering the Newgate territories and defeating anyone who stands in his way. He skillfully steals the strongest devil fruits from his adversaries, aiming to become one of the 4 emperors. Additionally, his conquest extends to the pirate island Hachinosu, or Beehive. This marks the conclusion of the 5th part of the plan. Furthermore, the group will be joined by Kuzan Aokiji, currently serving as the 10th Titanic captain in Admiral Blackbeard's fleet, even if remains uncertain whether he is really affiliated with them. The way Teach enlisted him, however, is very interesting and almost suggests that Kuzan chose to follow him because in spite of everything anyway, Teach can give him what he wants, but that is beyond the scope of our discussion. Instead, it is important what Kobe, Navy captain, member of Sword and Luffy's friend, will say after the latter's capture on Amazon Lily. Teach's intent is to join the world government, again, but this time as king of a kingdom. Here we have the 6th phase of the plan, Besides Kobe's justified skepticism and Teach's disdainful attempt to manipulate public opinion and pressure the government into accepting his demands, what is the purpose of this choice? So far, everything Teach has done, the accumulation of wealth, power, and influence, although if we consider it, he already possesses all three, has solely been for the sake of being recognized as the Pirate King under the protection of the world government. Does he simply intend to achieve this title by exploiting his position as the King of Pirate Island? If that were the case, it would be a truly pitiful goal. It does not befit the man who believes that dreaming should never cease, nor does it match the man who believes that nothing in this world is impossible. And here we have the final piece of the puzzle that we possess. "What do you want?" will Saint Saturn ask Blackbeard's pirates, and the answer will be the world. Everything. Luck and fate. Teach wanted to become a king recognized by the world government, so he could do anything else, obviously. What can kingdoms that belong to the world government do? The only thing I can think of that is important is to go to Levely, to marry Juice, and stay there for a whole week once every 4 years. What do you want 4 years for the man who waited 20 years to get a specific devil fruit? And what is there in the holy land of Mary Joyce? The throne of the king of the world. That throne that was created by the 20 families who defeated Joyboy 800 years ago. But as a matter of fact, luck and fate, he lost Kobe as he escaped thanks to Garp, who intervened in Hachinosu. But Devon was able to copy Saturn's appearance through the power of his mythological nine-tails fox fruit, which emulates Mr. Two's main fruit. Now she has a passkey for Mary Joyce that is truly worth all the gold in the world. Here the 7th part of the plan could be triggered, to penetrate precisely into the holy land of Mary Joyce and sit on the empty throne, becoming the king of the world. And so we come to the main point of this theory, which I must give credit to my brother Somobuta for conjuring up during one of our intensely thought-provoking One Piece deep discussions. The clash between Adi and Imusama will not involve the King of the World and Luffy. Instead, it will be a showdown between the cunning and strategizing Marshal D. Teach and the King of the World. Our imaginative hypothesis suggests that Teach may actually be the direct descendant of the late Joyboy from 800 years ago. On the opposing side, we imagine Saint Imu from the Nerona household, someone we believe defeated Joyboy 8 centuries before. Now picture the scene when these two characters finally meet. Teach interrogating Imu, digging into Imu's past, seeking the truth that lies within him, and perhaps unveiling the intricate web of deception that surrounds the King of the World. Think of the scene with Luffy and Teach's bounty torn apart on the ground in chapter 908. The two Joy Boys, the blood heir and the spiritual heir. Consider the straw hat in Mary Joyce. It isn't large enough for someone of giant descent, but it surpasses the size of a regular human hat and could fit a superhuman. In fact, it might be slightly larger than Teach's hat, or even that of a member of the people of Buccaneer race, like Bartholomew Kuma, a half-giant. Once Teach gets answers and discovers the truth about Imusama, Blackbeard kills him, also thanks to the dark fruit that takes away the devil's powers from his opponents and becomes for all intents and purposes the final villain of this pirate manga. Straw Hat versus Blackbeard, the Shining Sun versus the Deep Darkness, Joyboy versus Joyboy. The winner in the end goes to get the treasure One Piece, which is spiritually of the real Joyboy, which as Oda told us a long time ago, we will see only at the end of the story. Without creating messes and strange and ugly inconsistencies, we finally discover the whole truth, even with the possibility of making comparisons with the story told by King Imusama. We will finally have the full picture, the world finally free of Imusama, and Teach can then finally be reformed. And Buggy will be the Pirate King. Naturally, this is merely a theory, so it is bound to have some flaws, problems, and inconsistencies, so treat it as such, acknowledging its limitations and issues. Nonetheless, I personally find it exceptionally intriguing, as it may offer a captivating resolution to an enigma that remains perplexing. If you wish to make additions, feel free to do so. If you prefer to remove components, go ahead. Dislike it, express your opinion. Like it, voice your approval. With that being said, I extend my greetings to you. Be kind, subscribe, give a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, do whatever your heart desires. The essential thing is that we all enjoy ourselves together. And so be good and enjoy yourselves. Bye.